Everything within her wanted to reach out and rediscover the sexy, hedonistic man she glimpsed that night. Okay. The indulgent smile of her lover was gone, though cynicism, he's cynical, and contempt were palpable in the polished chrome of his gaze. Did he know what she? Did he know that she'd had their baby? Was that why he was throwing accusation at her like bolts of lightning with his bitter look? His antagonism was obvious. Her stomach bottomed out as she recalled one of the first things Nico had told her about his son. Val is a bastard, Miss O'Neill. He takes pride in the distinction and seizes every opportunity to live down to the label. At different times, Nico had used all manner of unsavory descriptors: disrespectful, rebellious, confrontational, reprehensible, vengeful. He hadn't been a man, one contradicted, even though his view on Val hadn't sounded like the man she met. Regardless, anger with his father had prompted Val to turn his back on a fortune and marry a woman he didn't love. That made him a man no sensible woman would cross. And Nico might have offered her protection from Val while he'd been alive, but Nico was gone. Kiara was on her own. Davin broke the thick silence by setting down the jug of water with a clunk. He held out the glass to Evelina, who ignored it as she stared between them. "Do you know each other?" Evelina asked. Kiara's arteries stung with a fresh release of fight or flight. She looked to the door, willing Scarlet to appear. "What are you doing here, Kiara?" Val's voice, for all its lethal sharpness, was still deep enough to invoke a sense of curling into a soft bed under a thick quilt. This man is cold as hell to her, and all she's thinking about is woo-woo. "Can you woo-woo-woo?" She glanced at Davin. "When all mentioned parties are present, we'll discuss the particulars of dispersal," Davin said with a twitch of a smile that died on contact under Evelina's death-ray glare. "Do not tell me this person is entitled to some portion of Nico's estate." Evelina's outraged gaze went down Kiara's ample curves in pale yellow and summer sky blue. Her lip curled with distaste. You know that look that some of you female pussycats get from your husband's mother? You know, that mother-in-law look, when she don't like you? I guess that's the look that she's giving Kiara. "Not exactly," Kiara croaked, snatching up her own glass of ice water and dampening her throat. "I could check on Scarlet. Perhaps they could hide together in the ladies' room until this blew over." Before she could take a step toward the door, however, it flung open. "Very sorry," Nigel stammered. "There's been a development. Miss Walker has gone to the hospital." "What? Why? What happened?" In her shock, Kiara misjudged the height of the table. Her glass tipped as she set it down on her way to the door. The puddle of water streaked out alongside her as the glass rolled toward Val on the other side of the table. He caught it before it fell and shattered. "She's in labor," Nigel said. "Senor Rodriguez has taken her. His mother has chosen not to stay. The central message on the meeting was conveyed by Miss Walker," and Nigel glanced uncomfortably toward Evelina, then swung his attention back to Kiara. She said to tell you to finish your business here and call her when you're able. Of course she had. Scarlett never thought of herself. I'll leave you to it, Nigel said, drawing the door closed on his exit. Do not! Evelina flung around with an ominous warning toward Gavin. Tell me that some gold digger is having Paloma's grandchild, and all of Nico's money is going to them. Tears of rage glittered in her eyes. Val, on the other hand, gave an ironic snort, a dent of acrid humor twitched one corner of his mouth. Touché, Javiero, he drawled. Not all of it. Davin hurried to mollify Evelina. He flashed a cautious glance at Kiara. Perhaps we should sit. I'll stand. Kiara grasped the back of a chair to steady herself while the world spun off its axis around her. Her mind was splintering with concern for her best friend, while her heart hammered as the moment of truth arrived like a cliff before her. Her toes curled to keep her from tumbling over it, but she was going to fall regardless. Her eyes clung to the punishing contact of Valentino's unrelenting stare. She watched comprehension dawn, the way clouds parted and the sun suddenly pierced through in a shaft of brilliant, searing, hot light. A whooshing sensation tipped her past the point of no return. She couldn't speak, but she didn't have to. Calm down, mother. His tone descended to a grim, deadly rasp. The gold digger has also had a child. Sir, the lawyer admonished, but Val didn't let the man's disapproval impact him. He was suffering, too, a sharp sting of betrayal. Kiara had presented herself as a central deprecating penniless artist with a heart that he now realized had been iron pirate. And he was the fool who believed in her. He thought he enjoyed a chance to encounter one another. He hadn't needed to deflect or overpower the situation in order to keep control of it. He had thought they had shared, if not secrets, a lack of lies. She had haunted him, and she'd been working for his father the whole time. She had been more than Eve with an apple. She'd been the snake slithering her way into the priority seemingly harmless, then turning on him when he least suspected it. Man, he called her Satan. Wow, that's horrible. He called her the devil. He called her the devil. Yeah, ooh, horrible, I tell you. She, blah, 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 blah. How, of course, his father had played the long con, of course he had. But how had they managed it? Had she already been working for his father when they met? How Nico hired her to lure Val into bed and get her pregnant? Nice work if you can get it. A lucky shot to make it happen. And in one and go, and only because one of the condoms broke. He come. Well, I mean, you have a child. His mother clawed a pale hand at diamonds around her throat. Yes, Kiara knuckles stood out like brass bullets where her brown hands clutched the back of a chair. Her hair was longer, parted on one side. Light played through the brown gold mass of springs that were so fine and narrow. Each strand looked as though it had been wound around a pencil or something smaller. The coils piled upon themselves in wild abandon around her oval face, insinuating her high cheekbones. Her big eyes were pools of espresso, her mouth a round pout painted in brick red. Had she had elocution lessons, or had elocution, classes of etiquette, how to be proper and all that lessons, or had the broad Irish accent she used that night been a put on to trick him into believing she was a homeless backpacker she pretended to be. Deception. Her teeth had been straightened, but the rest of her was still mouth-watering, curvaceous, draped in clothes of much higher quality than the last time he seen her. She wore heels, so she seemed taller than he remembered. A wide belt at her waist emphasized the thrust of her breasts and the generous flare of round hips and bottom. Wow, that's a lot of, sex so far. Her teeth had been, okay. A very carnal memory threatened to take hold, and he dulled his wits over again. Sex was only sex, he reminded himself. It was a pleasant pastime to be enjoyed, like dessert or sailing on a hot day, not enjoying that should be used against others the way she had clearly used it against him on his father's behalf. Damn her to hell. I'm going to stop right there, pussycats. I'm not into chapter 2 yet, but it seems to go on. So far, this book is kind of juicy. They're a very rich family. I guess she was an artist. She said she was broke. I guess she was a starving artist, so she portrayed herself as a starving artist. And her and Val crossed paths. And I guess there was like a lot of sexual tension. There was like an attraction there. And they had woo-woo, who knows how many times, because I didn't get that far. One of the condoms broke, and she got pregnant. She had a child. His father knew about it. His father's dead now, so his father can, talk about his side of the story. He probably don't care about his side of the story for, hiring Kiera, the artist, who painted this portrait of Val 3 years ago. The mother sounds like she's a piece of work. The brother, half brother, sounds like he's a piece of work. I guess that's what money does to you. Money sometimes causes, a lot of time causes deception, deceit, and lies. Because how could you have woo or, somebody, he doesn't see you for 3 years, but you're working for his father. His father knows about you, but nobody else knows about you and who you are. And now the father dies, and the family comes up in the reading of the will, and you're there. Your girlfriend can't help you for emotional support because she gone to have her baby, having her baby. So it's like, oh my God. So the mother has to, Val's mother has to worry about what money she's getting, if Val's going to give her his portion, or if Kiera's entitled to some money, or if, so far, this book is like a soap opera. A hidden heir to redeem him. It's like a soap opera. You see, she's a beautiful chocolate pussycat, and you see he's a beautiful vanilla pussycat. Yes, I I all into interracial dating. Wow, I can't wait to come back and finish reading the book. It definitely caught my interest. But thank you for tuning in to the channel. Today is Monday, August 31st. If you liked it, yes, I know I struggled with some words. I mean, I'm sure most of us would. Some of those words, you know, we don't use in our everyday vocabulary. So yes, I struggled with some of the words. It's expected. But again, reading is fundamental. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you thought my reading was shitty, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I enjoyed reading it. Let me see. Follow me on Instagram, RonnieBond0515. Follow me on Twitter, RonnieBond0515. I enjoyed it. You see, I cut my nails. I had to. I had no thumbnail. It broke. So I had to cut them all. But they'll be back by, you know, back to that nice long length. I don't know. This is what, September? Oh, well, it'll be September tomorrow. So it'll be back by November. My nails will be that nice long length. I'm waiting. Well, yes, I enjoyed reading the book. I am going to continue it because it seems like soap opera, and this is probably how rich people really do. And you guys enjoy your evening. Stay safe. Read a book. Don't make, well, I don't care if you make fun of my reading. I know I can read. It's just you're not gonna stuck on certain words, but that's okay. It happens. I'm a pussycat, so you know I'm not perfect. And I'll see you next time. Meow, 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 meow. She had some woo-woo with a man. She got pregnant. Condom broke. His mother don't like her, and blah, 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 blah. Till next time. You guys have a good night. Bye.